262 for Trig. All right, so here's Trig. Yesterday we started with this, and now we're going to continue. So just follow along if you did this already. So number one, you want to see if there's an angle side pair. Okay, and that's going to be your starting point for the calculations that we're about to do. So you're going to go sine of 61 over 15.9. And on the other side, you're going to put sine of 43. And the side across from it is m, lowercase m. So make sure that they're always paired up. They should be across each other. Okay, and then you cross multiply and divide. So this gives you 15.9 times sine of 43 divided by sine of 61. And if you run that through, you should get 12.40. And that's in centimeters. Okay, you got to make sure you know how to type this into your calculator. So that you get the same thing. So now we want to find lowercase l, right? I asked you to find all sides. Before you do that, you need the angle across from it. So we use the sum of 180 property to do that. Angle L would be 76 degrees. So that's important to me. It's not really my final answer, but it's part of it. So I'm going to start with the pair I was given. And now I'm going to use that angle, and L is across from it. So L is found by cross multiplying and dividing. Divided by sine of 61. And L should give you 17.64 centimeters if you type that in correctly and you rounded it, right? Are we doing okay there? Okay. Next we have this triangle, and you do have a pair. So immediately you recognize this is a sine law situation. So I'm going to go sine of 40 over 36.3. Let's put centimeters down so we know that's a side length. Can I find lowercase p as is? I cannot find the side because I don't have this angle. So you kind of have to put this on hold and find r first. Right? We're going to find this first, and then we're going to worry about this one. So sine of 34 will give you lowercase r. Okay? So you cross multiply and divide. 36.3 times sine of 34 divided by sine of 40. And you run that through your calculator, and you get, I think this one I haven't done on my key here. It's 31.58. Does that make sense? Yeah. I was just looking, right? If this is 40, Caster, what are you doing? Okay. Yeah, all right. We'll deal with that later. Okay. Next we have sine of 40 over 36.3. I start with that same pair again. However, if I want to find lowercase p, I have to have sine of this angle next, right? So I'm just gonna I want you to show this step here. Just go 180 minus the 34 minus the 40, right? And then angle P is going to be 106. Okay, I'm going to underline that because I'm going to need that here, sine of 106. So basically I did this first, then I did this next, and so this is my third step here. Cross multiply and divide. So it's 36.3 times sine of 106 divided by sine of 40. And that's 54.29 centimeters. It's the longest side. And is it across the largest angle? It is, right? 106 is the largest angle here. And I have the longest side across from it, right? So it kind of just helps you determine, am I on the right track here? Okay. So you'll get another chance to try this today. So I will just now, this was all sides, just figuring out sides. Now we're going to do angles, okay? So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be new right now. But the good news is the setup doesn't change. It's just an extra step that you need to add there. So go to 263 here. And I will add this at the top. Sine law to solve for angles. Okay, just have that at the top so you know, okay, this is different, right? So we proceed the same way. So let's imagine for a second that we already learned how to use cosine law. We need to differentiate which one are we going to use, because only one of them you can use to start. You cannot use either of them. You can use only one. Do you have a pair? Yes, I do. So pair, therefore, you're going to have to use sine law. So I'm already training you to spot that, right? So what we can do is, they're asking us to calculate the sizes of angle A and angle C. My strategy is this. If I find one of these angles, right, as soon as I have two angles, I can just use the sum of triangles equal to 180 to get the third, correct? So I'm not going to use sine law twice. I'm just going to use it once, okay? So here we go. Sine of 81 over 123.2 meters is equal to, and now you got to think, put your thinking cap on. Which angle can I find as is? Go ahead, Kaden. Just wait. Okay. Go outside. And I can only solve for angle A here, correct? Because I have the side across from it. So I'm going to put down the side here. And over here, it's going to be sine A. Okay. So see how this is different? It's sine A. It's not just A, people, okay? It's an angle. This is an angle, so it's got to be attached to sine. We treat this as if it's our variable. So we go cross multiply and divide. Right? So cross multiply and divide. So we keep sine A as is. And on the other side, it's 91.6 times sine of 81 divided by 123.2. So in essence, it's the same as before, the way we set it up, the way we cross multiply and divide, it's the same. But watch this, okay? This is the added step. To find angle A, we're going to have to use the inverse. We're going to have to take the inverse of whatever we get out of this. And we're going to figure out what that is. So grab your calculator. This is very important. Right? 91.6 times sine of 81. And some of you, you have to do this backwards. Okay? You know your calculator. We've talked before. Divided by 123.2. And I get, don't clear it on your screen. Leave it. Okay? I'm just going to write down the first couple of digits. 7343, and I'll just go dot, dot, dot. It's telling me that I'm using all of the decimals. And my fourth line is going to tell me what the angle is. You remember inverse? Taking the inverse? If it's new to you, it's basically sine. Look at the sine button. Go find your sine button. It has this. It has sine with a -1 on top right here. So in order to access that, you need to press second or shift or something like that before you press sine. So I'm going to go shift, sine, and just hit equals. Most calculators will take the answer you have in your screen and find the inverse of that answer. As soon as I press equals, it just takes the previous answer and gives me that. So it's 47.25 degrees. So sides take 3 lines, angles take 4 lines. If you need to remind yourself how to do this, I would say take up a section on your study sheet and tell yourself this is how you do it. So I will say I'll make a note here. Press second, right, or shift, and then sine to access sine inverse, right? You have to press those buttons to get there. I will highlight this part. Sine of A, right? And then all of a sudden it's just A. Because why did you drop the A? Because you took the inverse. It is basically, hear me out here. Remember when it's a Pythagorean theorem, if it's x squared, how do we get rid of the x squared? We square root, right? Something happens to the number on the other side. Inverse sine is the same kind of idea, right? You take the inverse of this. If this number is bigger than 1, you plug in numbers and you're going to get an error. Don't call me. Just go back and check if you did it right. Like something went wrong along the way. It's not your calculator, it's just you did something wrong. Okay? So for example, if you try to take the inverse of like 1.1, you're going to get a math error. Anything bigger than 1, it's not going to like it. Okay? All right, we're not done yet. It's asking us for angle C. Angle C is 180 minus 81 minus 47.25. And that is, oh, no, this is wrong. My answer is off here. I don't trust it. 51.75, right? Angle C is 51.75. Degrees, don't forget the degree symbol. And I use the sum of a triangle is 180 degrees. That's what I used to come up with that. So just showing you what I did there. in this case, there's no other way you could have done that because you don't know the side across from angle C. I'll just do this here. Common errors. Forgetting to write sine, right, in front of angle. Forgetting degree symbol. Not taking the inverse. Not taking the inverse is very common. So students say, yeah, A is just 0.715. It's like, that's pretty small for an angle, right? So forgetting to write sine in front of the angle, no degree symbol, and forgetting to take the inverse. Next page. Back, yeah. What part? Right there? Okay. So the back side, 264 that is, it's asking to calculate the measure of the indicated side and or angle. So now we're mixing it up a little bit. Okay. I want you to just try this one right now, based on what I've just taught you. I want you to find, it's asking for angle A, right? The question mark is right here, so it's asking what is angle A. Could you do it right now based on that? Go ahead. Just try that one question, okay? Don't talk to your neighbor, just try that one question right now. Look at your notes. Okay. Follow along, okay, guys? So in this one, it's asking for angle. Just keep this in mind. We will soon have more word problems, and we will soon also have examples where it's not just one step, it's multiple steps. So you need to make sure you understand how we do things and why we're doing them, okay? So here, it's sine of 121 over 77.5 meters. And I do have the side across the angle that I'm after, so this is just a one-step scenario. Make sure you don't mix up your sides or any setup, and know how the cross multiplying and dividing works, okay? So in this case, because my variable is on the right side, my journey starts from the right, I go over, right? I cross multiply and divide like that. That's not good enough for work, that's just your setup. So we're gonna go 45.1 sine of 121 divided by 77.5. Okay. So sine inverse of this, so I'm going to quickly go ahead and run that through. I still would like to see all these steps here. So again, you're saying I'm using all decimals there, right? And then your last step is to actually take the inverse of that answer, and it's 29.92 degrees. That is angle A. In this case, it didn't ask for C, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But some of you did find C, and that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong, but just make sure you clearly answer the question. Right? Okay. Next, do I have a pair? Yes, I do. So I know I can use sine law. I tend to start with that. 16.4 meters. I have the side across the angle I'm interested in, and in this case, the angle has letter H associated with it. So cross multiply and divide, right? So sine of H, not just H. And you're gonna find out. I'm gonna catch all of these little notation issues, right? So gotta make sure you understand how to do this, how to show your work. You have a study sheet. Right, so 12.7 times sine of 52 divided by 16.4, 0.6102 dot, right? Angle H is 37.61 degrees. They're not asking for anything else, so we're good. Okay. Question, could you find lowercase g this side here? Absolutely, because now that you know these two, you could find that angle, which would then allow you to find the side across from it, right? So always keep that in mind. Last one. I do have a pair. So I'm going to start over here. Sine of 81 over 15.3 is equal to, I'm trying to find side M. Can I do that right now as is? The answer is no. So what, you always got to go back. What do I have? I have this side, so I can find angle N. So I'm going to go sine of N is 6.5, like that. So it starts with being an angle question, right? Sine of N is 6.5 times sine of 81 divided by 15.3. N is sine inverse of 0. Where's my key when I need it? I believe it's 0.6102, right? No, that's the wrong one. I have to redo it. That's 0.4196, and it keeps going. So angle N is 24.81 degrees. Now I can find angle M, right, by just subtracting angle M is 74.19 degrees. Underline that, don't circle it because it's not really what they're asking you to find. But I'm going to start with my pair again. Gino and Giro, wait now, okay? 15.3 on this side. I'm going to now use this one, the 74.19, which is going to help me find side M. Now we're back to yesterday's lesson, right? Cross multiply and divide. So it's 15.3 times sine of 74.19 divided by sine of 81. So when you cross multiply and divide those, you get 14.90 centimeters. if you have, which you should, if you have this booklet with the worksheets on you, I'm going to assign, right, work on page 1 and 2 in the booklet.